So this is a sensitization of our race and religion being different by those in government and those who are implementing policies, and all across the board. But today we find that, again, still the throwback of the old days lah, when it's not yet thinking Malaysian. So this is why we need to manage this. And then also we have been teaching the young to strive for excellence, right? I'm sure everybody knows this. Everyone talks about be benchmark against the best, excellent, cemerlang, terbilang, and all that. Fine, that's what we should be asking people to do, regardless of what your race or religion. But then, somewhere along the line, some implementer or policy does the reverse. Instead of giving to the meritorious one, give to the mediocre one. You know what I mean? Simply because of race. I am totally opposed to that. You don't give to a Malay because he's a Malay. Might be mediocre. It's an embarrassment to my community. You give to a mediocre Malay, some whatever it is, because there are any number of meritorious Malays. So merit should be regardless of race, right? And that's what we're telling now. We're telling the young, strive for excellence, cemerlang, terbilang, all that. Very good. But we have to make sure, as we go on, those who implement policies also believe in that excellence regardless of race, regardless of gender. And now I come to the gender part. Regardless of gender. How many times perhaps a man is chosen because they fear the woman will get pregnant, the women go maternity leave, this stupid excuse of maternity leave, you know, and all. I'm serious. Now you may laugh, but the women complain. You know, all the obstacles put in front of the woman just not to take her on merit. You see? So while we are telling the young, cemerlang, must benchmark against the best, when it comes to selection, you don't use merit as a benchmark. So what I'm trying to say is that we keep on sending the wrong signal to the young of today, who are living in a completely different environment. So if you want to move forward in a more harmonious society, we have to manage this consciously and manage it well. So, one, if we believe on merit, then merit must come first. Because the country will lose if you start choosing. The country will lose if you just choose by race. If you just choose by gender, the country will lose because you're not choosing the best. I believe in that. I believe very strongly in that. And if the country loses, all of us lose. If the mediocre is in place, looking after your affairs, you can't expect very much from that person. It's always a him, lah. It's always a better her and not so good him. Just to provoke the man about to sleep, right?
No debate on that.
And then sometimes when we say, as I said just now, send mixed signals to the young. While we talk about this need to be Malaysian first and cemerlang, then we have very counterproductive programs in place, or very counterproductive actions being taken. That is more chauvinist in nature, more parochial in nature. So this has to be looked into, monitored and abolished. And then of course, as I said just now, we set aside meritocracy for other considerations. And this is where the young, to my mind, are not happy today. So if we want to move forward well, then we must address this clash of values, where we must must not send mixed signals to the young, and must ensure that we talk about race and religion. It should not be a deterrent to giving to the best. It should not be a deterrent to making sure that the person who performs well, doesn't get sidelined. This is very important for the future. What is past, to my mind, it has to be rectified. If there's some cases of this kind of discrimination, whether it's discrimination by gender or discrimination by race, deliberate discrimination. But I must tell you, as matter of policy, we have never had a policy of discrimination. When we had the economic policy, it was not discrimination per se. It was a proper allocation, and beyond that, it's open. But sometimes it gets skewed, as I said, to use the word. And in implementation, there are problems that arise that cause people to believe and to think that this government is not being fair. I must tell you, I've been in government for 28 years, 36 years, and 28 of them as minister. I've always noticed, even from the beginning, that our leaders have always been Malaysian in their thinking. But by the time it goes to the grassroots, it's something else. This is our problem. It's just like, for example, a person with a fixed attitude, no matter where you put this guy, it's always be the same attitude will prevail. So these mindsets that are tending towards discrimination will have to be eroded, will have to be abolished in time. And then today, I'm surprised to see, maybe not surprised, the opposition, for example, have begun to realize this. You know, they cannot function by religion, they cannot function by race. So now they've got this pakatan where they want to show that, okay, we take note of everybody's concern. We are now the Rakyat pakatan. You know, we are the people's coalition. It is more gimmick lah. But people do get taken in because they're frustrated with what's happening. So, okay, this is a better alternative. They have yet to prove it. But the Barisan Nasional have for a long time propagated this, but perhaps we were not very forceful in doing it. We were not seen to do it. And I said there were some diversions from that. And I must say that in Malaysia, we have a lot of similarities amongst us that we can build upon. As I've said in the beginning, we have the same aspirations. That should be the basis upon which future politics must be built. The similarities amongst us diverse people. You know, the same things that we want, the same aspirations that we are looking for. And for the government, of course, we have to rectify, as I've said, all the shortcomings. Now, so far, we are talking about RRG in politics. But I must say, in a country like Malaysia, in any other country, this RRG issue is not just in politics. It permeates everywhere. It's a result of mindset. It's a result of mindset. If you have the mindset, you run a company, you do the same thing. If you have the same mindset, you run anything, you do the same thing. So, in Malaysia, if you're going to be really the Malaysian society that we want, with all the Malaysian characteristics, we must start nurturing this Malaysian mindset from young. So that when they become politicians, they're already with that mindset. When they become doctors, they're already mindset. When they open clinics, they will say multiracial. When they have businesses, you know, no second thoughts about bringing in the best Malay, the best Chinese, the best Indian, or the best Iban or whatever. You know, it's meritocracy. Like that. It's not, oh, I cannot, I better take this Melayu lah, or I better take this Chinese. You know, it's a throwback to the old days. So, for the future, we must look at this from all angles. Politics is one thing, but also in the society at large. In the private sector, you must eradicate this race, religion, and gender discrimination. For example, gender. Maybe race and religion not so obvious, but gender. Sometimes in the private sector, the women do not have the same equal chance. They always complain. It used to be when I don't know about now, but when I was in government, the women would come and, you know,